Hello, and welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and today this is going to be part 8 of our venture into the Black Barrel. The Darkstalkers have busted through the first room, into the second room, taken out the 2 guards there, and now only have to deal with the Elite Archer in the back before we can chase the individual into his final room, which we are unsure as to what is there, but we will find out soon enough, I hope. There's a couple things that I want to do before we get into the gameplay. One thing that I did take a look at in the rulebook was for the guard, which we fought, and the Mind Thief pushback onto the trap in the last turn. When a trap is triggered, either by a character or enemy, this would actually go away. So the trap only triggers the one time, it's then discarded. So we now have an entryway to the door, and the money is flat onto the tile. So we're able to go ahead and get right into that particular room without any issue. So the real issue now is we've got all these coins scattered around everywhere, and I really want to be able to pick them all up. The only downside is if I focus too much attention on picking up coins, I could run into some trouble. Now, just so you guys are aware, the Scoundrel has a loot 2, which he would throw that card away, and he could do that, and it would allow him to actually pick up this coin, which is not bad, right? So I mean, we could grab 2 coins there, and then we have a loot 1, which doesn't get discarded, that the Mind Thief could use potentially later up here, or we could just have our characters end their turns here. Now the problem with all this is that this archer is not going to let us just sit here. He's going to keep taking pot shots at us from down the hall. He's not going to try to get close to us to attack. He's going to constantly use his long range actions on us for attacks to hit us. So we kind of have to be a little smart in how we play this out. We also need lots of movement. So now starting this next round, we really need to be thinking about how we can get as close to the archer as possible to inflict some damage. The one downside to the Mind Thief at the moment is he doesn't really have anything besides using all the base bottoms of the cards for move 2 to get closer to the archer. He doesn't really have anything that's any higher than that. So the downside with that is that we can't even really get to him with the Mind Thief on this turn. And that's too bad, because even with a ranged attack there, or a couple different range attacks, the only one that's even a possibility, per se, which we could do, is use this one here to disarm him and attack him from range, get some experience. We'd lose the card, but it would hit him pretty hard. But it would hit him from distance at 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1 shy. We would have to move forward. So we could do something where, like, we move maybe to here and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 range and take a pot shot at him. So maybe that's what we should do. So I'm going to go ahead, and I think that might be what we should do, because I think this coin here is a lost cause. This one's got potential to get picked up if we decide to discard a card from the Scoundrel. But you know what? Discarding a card for 1 coin, in my opinion, is not worth it. I think you need to have more, get more from it than that. So anyway, let's pick our 2 cards. So the 2 cards I'm going to go ahead with is going to be a generic move 2 card. And maybe what we'll do is we will use our bottom portion of, we need this one here to do the long range attack regardless. So that's going to, and it's going to give us a high initiative off the top. Then we need something that we can spend just for 2 movement. So this one here gives you a +1 for negative conditions on a target. Let's hold on to that, because if we get close enough to him in the future, we might be able to use it. And then this one here is really good, because if we get even closer into range, so maybe we should hold that for the next turn in case we need to stun him. So maybe this is the best one to use for now, and then we can use invisible later when we need to rest again. So let's go ahead and use this one. We're going to put the 48 on the bottom, or I should say, if this is going to be on the top. So we're going to put the 48 on the bottom, 11 on the top for the Mind Thief, and that is the end of his 2 selections. We come over here to the Scoundrel, and we know that the Mind Thief's plan is to kind of run over here, hopefully, and take a shot, as well as gather the coin at the end of his turn, or end of round when he's sitting there. The Scoundrel, on the other hand, needs to do something in order to kind of move this along. And the good thing with the Scoundrel is he's got a move 6 card, which is definitely going to be what we want to use to get him as close as possible to the archer. Now, we know the Mind Thief is an 11, and when he does his attack, he's going to disarm him. Now, disarming a character has its own benefits as well, or at least this is what we're planning to do. All this can go down the toilet pretty fast if we pull initiative cards that somehow stop us or slow us down. But the disarm in the rule book clearly states, if a figure is disarmed, it cannot perform any attack abilities on its turn. At the end of the next turn, the disarm token is removed. So again, depending on when we disarm it is kind of a key factor in that. And it's kind of similar to how the stun is played out. So we're going to go ahead and if the Mind Thief was to go first and end up disarming him with initiative 11, then it might be wise to get up as close as humanly possible and take a shot at him. Now the one thing about the 2 cards he has remaining in his hands, just so you guys are aware, Throwing Knives says that you can attack 2 with a range of 3 and you can target 2 targets. One thing I do want to clarify is when there's only 1 target, you still are only going to get 1 attack out of that card. You don't get, it just means it can affect 2 different targets. So you cannot put 2 attacks onto the same character using that potential, or using that wording. So just so you're aware of that as well. So we do have an attack 3 at the bottom here though, that would be very useful and give us an experience. So why don't we do that? So we'll go ahead and put the 6 on top and this on the bottom. And we're gonna go ahead and obviously reveal the cards that we know are here. So 6 for the Scoundrel and 11 for the Mind Thief. And we don't have any guards to worry about. So this deck is useless, yeah, essentially useless at this point in time and still sits as is. The Archer deck is the only one we have to worry about flipping, so we'll go ahead and flip that. And it's a 68 with a recycle or reshuffle symbol. So the great thing about this is he's going to do all this stuff after we've already gone ahead. So we actually should be able to avoid his attack, which is great. So the very first person that gets to go is obviously the Scoundrel. He's going to go ahead, he's going to use his move 6 first. So we're going to take the Scoundrel from where he's planted in the dungeon and go 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's put him here so that he's not too far away from the door for when he needs to turn around and head back in here. There's nothing back here, so that you guys are aware none of this stuff is openable. If it is something that the scenario specifies as being open, or something that a character could open like a chest, I'm going to use, instead of using the tokens that come in the game, I'm going to use an actual brown treasure chest that has a lid that can come off of it. If it's just white, then it's just there for gameplay purposes, just to kind of give some spice to the map. So just so you're aware. And it doesn't, these things don't come with the game. Everything that comes with the game is a flat token. I've just replaced some of this 3D stuff and thought it was pretty cool. So he's moved there with 6, so we can go ahead and take this card, throw this in the discard pile because there's no loss symbol there. We're going to use the oh, drat. Okay, I made a mistake here. And we can, and because we're playing solo, we can change this up a little bit. I can't use the bottom of this card and the bottom of this card. That's my mistake. It doesn't change anything though, because I'm going to still use, that was still my initiative of 6. I'm just going to be grabbing this one instead because I didn't mean to. Actually, you know what? Yeah. Ugh. No, I want to disarm the trap too. That might not be bad and get us some XP. I'll use the throwing knives. So this gives them XP as well. So we're gonna go ahead and just do a quick swap on that. It doesn't change any of the gameplay. I just accidentally didn't look at the top and bottom. So we did the bottom, move 6. We moved up 6 along this path here to the Archer. And now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do this attack. Remembering that with a target of 2 and there's only 1 target, we're only doing 1 attack. Now we are beside him and it's a ranged attack. So this is where you want to change something and go, I'm not going to do this attack. I'm actually going to do this attack. And the reason why I'm choosing that right there is because I don't want to be disadvantaged. I'm beside him and I'll be disadvantaged if I go ahead and do that. So yes, I could step back. That's another option. I could, instead of moving the 6 I did, I could step back 1. And actually, now that I think about it, maybe that's what I want to do, because I could grab the coin that's by the door too. Ooh, so many different options here now. So let's say with the, let's say with the move 6 that we were here, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3 to land on the coin. We're gonna take a range shot at him from here. And the range shot is we're gonna use this now. We won't be disadvantaged anymore because now we're not beside him. So we can pull for that. It's an attack 2. And we do get an experience from it, which is a bonus. So let's go ahead and grab this card, making sure that we don't have any extra bonuses for anything else. This is only if they're not adjacent to any of their allies. It says on your next 4 attacks, targeting enemies adjacent to none of their allies, add 2. So actually we can use this, we are allowed to use this single out on this attack as well, because it says on your next 4 attacks, targeting enemies adjacent to none of their allies, add +2. So we're gonna go ahead and bump that up, which gives us an experience for using it. So it goes up to 3, plus the fact we're using the throwing knives card brings us up to 4. So we're getting some nice XP finally on the scoundrel. And now we've got a +2 onto an attack 2. And we're gonna go ahead and pull the modifier. Nice, and a +1. So that's 5. So we're doing 5 damage against the archer. The archer has absolutely no shields, no negative effects on him yet. So he gets 5 straight damage, and we're more than halfway to killing him. So that's great news. So the first bandit archer has already got 5 damage on him. All right, so then of course this card here was used for its top ability where you don't have a second target to attack, so we can't do this. And just so you guys are aware, with the XP rules in this game, as long as you do half of what the text card is written, as long as you do half of it, then you're allowed to gain that XP. So just so that you're aware, because even though we didn't technically target 2 characters, we did technically attack somebody using this text, and so we do gain this XP. So that goes in the discard pile. That's his turn, all done. So both those cards are gone. Now we move over to the Mind Thief, remembering that the Mind Thief has some rats. Now the rats move based on the a move 0, attack 0 mentality. And obviously the archer is the furthest away. So these rats are going to start coming towards the door. So I'm just going to kind of slide them out a bit and try not to knock them off their tile too much. So the rats are now clogging up the entranceway as I break the dungeon in pieces. So they're busting through the door here, but they're not going to do any attack because at the end of the day, the rats are just a summoned creature who can bite people that are close to them. So it's going to take them a while to get close to anything. They're likely to actually get stuck there. I know for a fact based on the rules that when the rats actually are killed off when they get 6 damage, that card goes back into my hand. I'm going to look up in between scenarios whether or not I can actually just go ahead and choose to inactivate that card and get it into my hand. I highly doubt that. I think that once you summon them, they're there until an enemy goes ahead and tries to attack them. And that's based on their focus. So, and that's another whole rule set. So, jumping into the Mind Thief, because now we've moved the rats, they're not attacking, they're so far away. All these coins are scattered everywhere. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our movement. So we're going to use this one. Instead of using it for its text, we're going to use it for its movement. So we're going to have the Mind Thief go 1-2 to land on the coin, which is good news, so that he'll be able to, and we're not going to put this in the lost pile, in the discard pile. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use this attack 4 from range, which is going to disarm and give him 2 and bump up Frost to a strong level. So that's really cool. Now, this is not a melee attack. So because it's not a melee attack, we don't get this bonus that's on Augment because we are doing this shot from range, but it's still an attack 4, and with how much damage we've already done from the Scoundrel, I think it's safe to say we'll probably be able to take him out this turn, I hope. So we may not even need to worry about the disarm. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to fire away, use the empathetic assault, and we're going to go ahead and flip a modifier for this particular attack, and it's a 0. Okay, so the thing is, the great thing about this, the attack was 4. We'd already put 5 damage on him. The archer has 0 shields whatsoever because they haven't had, and their turn hasn't even come around yet. So the great news about this is we've actually wiped them out. So this archer has been totally killed because the attack 4 comes straight through. The 5 is already on him. 9 is his total health. He's totally dead. We don't need to put a disarm token down because he's gone, but we can increase the Frost level up to the strong column, which is where it belongs. And then we can actually gather 2 XP. So the Mind Thief's going to go from 3 up to 5. So things are starting to kind of turn around for these guys. Now this card is got the lost symbol in the bottom right, so it needs to be lost. It goes in the lost pile, not getting that back. But as you can see, it might have been worth it because we just sped things up a bit and have a better shot at potentially moving into the next room and seeing what's behind this door. Now, we also have a couple things to clean up at the end of the round. One of those things is we do have this card here that also shows that this needs to be shuffled. So after this video, I'm going to shuffle this deck back together, and all these other decks, there were no reason to shuffle any of them. They're all regular pulls, and we're still waiting on getting a card to shuffle them. So there's nothing happening that way. One thing that's going to happen is that the Mind Thief ended his turn on this tile, so he's going to gain a coin. The Scoundrel ended his turn on this tile, so he gains this coin. And what are the last things we can do here? We're going to go ahead and reduce Elemental Strength. So it went up during our turn, so it's going to go down to the waning level, which is still not bad. And then optional short rest. We could short rest if we want to. I'm not going to though, because I think we're kind of looking like we're in good shape. And then we're going to shuffle, which is what I told you I'm going to do here. I'm going to shuffle these modifier cards in between the video. And we'll likely be long resting in the next one. But maybe the Mind Thief will actually go forward and the Thief may sit back. We'll have to see. We also have to remember too that the Mind Thief still has a minor stamina potion to use that can recover 2 cards back from here. So we can actually keep the Mind Thief rolling potentially for another whole hand without having to rest, which is a big plus. So maybe we can send him on the next turn invisible and send him into this room to do some damage. But anyway, that's essentially the gist of this particular round. So that's pretty much everything. So until the next time, keep rolling solo.